20,000 visas to Nigerians over the past few years. According to the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Richard Montgomery, Montgomery describes the relationship between Nigeria and the UK as robust, emphasizing that Nigeria is one of the major beneficiaries of the UK's post-Brexit migration policies. Montgomery, addressed claims of harsh immigration policies, asserting that the UK's visa policy have been favorable to Nigerians. He noted that the number of work visa granted to Nigerians has increased significantly from 10,000 to 20,000 annually a few years ago to 80,000 to 90,000 in recent years. He also highlighted the contributions of Nigerians in the UK, particularly in sectors such as social care, describing their roles as vital. The number of people getting visas to go to the UK has gone from something like 10,000 to 20,000 about 6 years or 7 years ago to 80,000 to 90,000 a year, like I said. The envoy said that, but admitted that student numbers are down. Nigerians, he added, accounts for approximately 10% of all visas issued by the UK in the past 2 years. Although he acknowledged a decline in the number of Nigerian students studying in the UK, he also underscored the strong ties between the two nations, which he said surpasses Nigerians' visas relationship with other countries. This is, do you have a plan to Japan soon?
Well, I really don't have a plan.
You don't have a plan? You don't want to leave? Do you have a plan to study out of the country?
You know what, of course, there are people who see that as a big opportunity. But
okay.
About myself, unless there is a grave need for me to leave and perhaps go and do something. But I really do not see this as something that we should be celebrating as a country. Because if the country is working okay for Nigerians, we'll not be having this huge number of people, leaving the country. Okay, we are complaining that there's a huge brain drain. Doctors, health workers are leaving this country to other countries of the world. So it is not something that we should be happy about. I don't know the number of visas that Nigerians are giving to British or foreign nationals, to come into this country. Now we are celebrating our own living at the shores of this country. What does that tell you? That the country is not working. And I think it's quite shameful and embarrassing that, the government officials, leaders, don't even take these things seriously. If everybody leaves, who is going to make this country better for us? Because we have no other country to call our own. So for me, this should be a wake-up call. Even though we know that we have leaders who are irresponsible and irresponsive, things like this don't bother them. But with time, we'll begin to understand the consequences of this kind of massive, migration from this country to other countries, because those countries are getting benefits. They use our people to improve and better their economy, because it's improving their labor force.
Okay.
And whereas we're having a major brain drain in this country, so it's quite unfortunate.
Thank you, Mufasa. We would have continued, but we do not have time on our side. And we would love to do this with you tomorrow. And thank you. This is where we wrap it up on this episode of Blowers. Thank you, Mufasa, for gracing your show, your presence with the show. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Or gracing your guest show, your guest presence.
Everything.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
It's still an honor to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.